Beloved within the Seventh-day Adventist Church, this is a very urgent message, urgent message regarding the last days in relation to the sons-in-law crisis and the Sabbath commandment. Beloved, in these last days, we need to be very careful and mindful that we give the more earnest heed to these things that were given to us, lest any times these things slip from us, beloved, in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. People are teaching now in the first-day Christian churches that we should worship on the first day of the week. They teach because Christ rose on that day. They say because we should worship God any day. They say because any day is holy, and that we're under the old law of Moses because we keep the seventh-day Sabbath holy. Well, Exodus 31:18 tells us, it says clearly, that God came down on Mount Sinai and spake us with right judgments and true laws. That's Nehemiah 9:13. Exodus 31:18 says that he wrote with the finger of God. So he wrote with his finger upon two tables of stone. Those two tables of stones means that those laws were immutable, does not change because he wrote with his finger. Then Psalm 19 says he wrote with the law of the Lord is perfect, convert the soul. So that law that he wrote with his finger is a perfect law, not a transitory ceremonial Sabbath or ceremonial law. It is a perfect law of liberty. James 2:10-12, it says, this is taken from Testimony of my Father, chapter called The Coming Christ. It says, by the decree enforcing the institution of papacy in violation of the law of God, our nation will disconnect herself fully from righteousness. When Protestantism shall stretch her hand across the gulf to grasp the hand of the Roman power, when she shall reach over the abyss to clasp hands with Spiritism, when under the influence of this threefold union, our country shall repudiate every principle of its constitution as a Protestant and Republican government, and shall make provision for the propagation of papal falsehoods and delusions, then we may know that the time has come for the marvelous working of Satan, and that the end is near. As the approach of the Roman armies was a sign to the disciples of the impending destruction of Jerusalem, so may this apostasy be a sign to us that the limit of God's forbearance is reached, that the measure of our nation's iniquity is full, and the angel of mercy is about to take her flight, never to return. Beloved in the Adventist Church, Christ did not give us Sunday, the first of the week, to commemorate his resurrection. According to Ellen White and early writings, he's given us communion, symbolizing the death, burial, resurrection of Christ on the cross for our sins, and baptism, symbolizing the death, burial, resurrection of Christ on the cross for our sins, to represent his resurrection. He did not give us communion in Easter. So he did not give us Easter and Sunday. He did not give us Easter and Sunday. Easter is a pagan fertility Catholic holiday. Sunday is a first of the week. It is the day of the sun. It is a pagan fertility rite. He gave us communion. He gave us baptism. That's what he gave us to commemorate his resurrection. He did not give us again Sunday, and he did not give us again Easter. Those are pagan, very pagan holidays in Lent. They are Catholic traditions of Babylon, her apostate daughters, her apostate Protestant daughters, like the Baptist Church, Pentecostal Church, Lutheran Church, Methodist Church, Episcopalian Church, all these apostate Protestant daughters. Beloved, Revelation speaks to these daughters very clearly. Revelation chapter 14, verse 6-8. Revelation chapter 18, verse 3 and 4. It speaks to these daughters in these last days who worship on Sunday and call Sunday the Sabbath and say that God has changed the day of rest because of the resurrection of Christ. Revelation chapter 14, verse 6-8. It says, verse 8 says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Now her fornication is a union of church and state, beloved. All nations drunk of that wine. And her false doctrines like Sunday sacredness, the immortality of the soul, infant baptism, no victory over sin, no sanctuary truth, all these false Babylonian doctrines. Babylon fell in 530 AD when the Roman Catholic Church, beloved, became the papacy. And it's going to fall, and it fell again in 1844 when the first day Christian churches rejected the first and second age messages that God created this earth in 6 days, rest on the seventh, and it come out of Babylon. And it's going to fall again when the first of Christian churches make a son's law and make the whole world nations worship on the first of the week. Now look at this right here, beloved. This is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 4 says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues." Beloved, in the seventh Adventist church, her plagues are the seven last plagues found in Revelation chapter 15 and verse 16. And her sins are Sunday sacredness and immortality of the soul, beloved. Do not receive the plagues of the first day Christian churches. Do not partake in the sins of the first day Christian churches and the apostate Protestant world and the papacy and the pagan religions like Buddhism and Shintoism, Taoism. Beloved, the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven, earth, the sea, and all that are in the midst, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day holiday. Beloved, be faithful to God in these last days and reject the man of sin and his apostate Protestant daughters. God bless.